Hey, what's up, y'all? Silent Alonzo here. I just want to talk about some Dogelon Mars. But before I do, I want to ask you to like, subscribe, and share so we can get this everywhere. And remember, every time you retweet, it increases our reach. So I thank you in advance. Now, tonight's topic wasn't something that I was going to cover, but I think we could get something good out of it. So I am. Now, I am going to be talking about what I am referring to as the Palo space. Now, many of us that are YouTubers or are on Twitter, we are well aware of what it is. But basically, there were some questions that were raised about the Methuselah Foundation. And I will say, you know, they're kind of tough, And, the community was bothered by the manner in which it was done. Now, look, in business, I tend not to judge intentions, right? I tend to just note the results. Am I getting what I want or am I not, right? So there is a strategy in negotiation that's called stir up the waters to catch the fish, which is basically throwing a curveball out there and seeing, what happens, right? So fortunately enough, with this situation here, what we got was some answers, and it actually stirred up the community to act, right? So while we were, well, I heard it afterwards. I wasn't live, but while I'm listening to everything in real time, you hear people trying and attempting to answer this question. You could see that they're doing research because they're coming back with information to try to get these answers. So it was awesome seeing the community act in that manner to try to get these questions answered, right? So I have to give a big shout out to small cap cryptos on Twitter because they actually went and did some in-depth research and took their time to provide an answer to one of the questions here, right? I also want to give a big shout out to Dogelon Millionaire for I could tell that you've been in crypto. I could tell. So for giving, the words of encouragement that you did and your opinion and standing your ground on it, I think that was great. Also, Krypton General, man. Krypton General, you brought a lot of sense into the market, and y'all stayed real level headed and really tried to assist in the whole situation. Now, this strategy of stirring up the waters, right? I don't know if that was done intentionally or not. I'm not here to judge intention, right? But in crypto, that can actually shake paper hands. Now, I guess since we're in it as deep as we are, sometimes we think that we're speaking to equals, right? And there are people that are way deeper than what I am, way deeper than I am, right? And way deeper than maybe some of us listeners. But there are some people that are just barely getting in. And maybe sometimes we think that we're just talking to people that are on our level. So we don't really take into consideration that it may shake paper hands, it may make new investors that are listening a little hesitant, right? And ultimately, it can be seen as a jab to everyone's investment, right? So you got to be very, very cautious with that. And because people will call it FUD, people will call it FUD, and people are calling it FUD. But the best thing that you can do is try to find somebody that's even more knowledgeable than you and ask questions. And that's how an answer arises. But since this space took place, there were questions that arose. And I listened to the whole thing and I tried to take notes and I tried to find, what can I say, core questions that were being asked, right? And one of the things that we have to do as a community is understand that there is a difference between the devs and the Methuselah Foundation. Now, the devs are the developers of Dogelon Mars, all right? They are Dogelon Mars. The Methuselah Foundation is an investor just like you and me, all right? The only thing that makes them different is that they're a foundation, all right? They are hodling just like us, and that they own the biggest stake in it, right? So whatever they do, matters, right? And luckily for us, they said that they would be stewards of the coin, right? They said that they would be a friend to the community and they would work symbiotically. I guess is that how you pronounce that word? They would be, intertwined with us, right, to make sure that everything is works out for the investors and for the community, right? And just recently, if you go watch my video Toodles, you will hear that Dane Goebel is actually excited about what's going to take place in May and that the community is going to be just as excited. So, you got to look at the two. You have a developing team, and then you have one of the biggest holders, the biggest holder of Elon, which is the Methuselah Foundation. Now, one of the other things is that arose was token allocation, right? Where are the tokens, right? Look, 50% of them are in Uniswap. The 43% Methuselah has. Now, there's another 7% that was brought up. Now, check this out. From what I've understood and what I've been told, that 7% was actually used in gas fees when transferring the 43%, right? And then whatever's left is still in Vitalik Buterin's wallet, right? So unless somebody else has anything to add to that, I'm gonna let that rest there. I didn't dig any further than that. I think that's where it's at. Now, big question. What is the developer's stake in Dogelon Mars, right? So there was a fair sale, a fair launch sale, right? Now, that means that all of the devs had to buy in. They had to buy in, right? Because all of it's accounted for, right? So they had to buy in. So nobody really knows what they hold. And you know that's good. That's a good thing that they had to buy back in, that it was a fair sale, there was no pre-sale and anything like that. And even Dane Goebel, if you go watch the Dogelon Warriors Dogelon Space, you will hear Dane Goebel mention, it's just one sentence, but it means a lot. It means a lot when you apply it to this. Dane Goebel said, we really like Doggle on Mars, something to that effect, right? No, don't quote me on it, but basically he says, we really enjoyed Doggle on Mars because it was basically rug pull proof. Rug pull proof, all right? So you keep that in mind, right? You keep that in mind because it's very interesting, right? The way this token was structured and allocated, right, or distributed. So the other thing is, why don't we have a white paper, right? So we all often refer to the amicus token paper, right? And that's really a how can you put it? A consolidation of all the information that was shared by the devs, right? So we can consider the amicus token paper as a light paper, right? Which is not a light paper, is not as in depth as a white paper, but it serves as this is a generic way of the direction of this project, right? So we do have a light paper. We may not have a white paper yet. You always got to keep that in mind, yet, because there is a lot to come. Dogelon Mars' birthday, is right around the corner. So the big question that was out there was, how come they didn't have their 2020 taxes? I know that it was brought up that there was like 2 or 3 years that they didn't file the taxes. Well, come to find out, it was only 1 year, which is the 2020 tax season. And it just so happened that on the same day they were revamping their website and everything, and they were posting their 2020 taxes, all right, because the taxes was a big deal. How come they haven't filed taxes, right? So come to find out, they did. I saw them. Small cap cryptos actually posted the link to them, and they updated the website as well. But um, I guess that was a coincidence. I don't know how it happened on the same day, but it's hey, sometimes it happens like that, right? So look, man, I'm gonna say this. We got some questions answered, right? We got the community support. We got them to jump in, and everybody was willing to answer the question, even though they're upset. I mean, it's gonna happen, man. How can you say you are solid in something until you are tested in it, right? You have to be tested to say that you're loyal, right? And look at all the people that stepped up, man. That is amazing. That is amazing. All the people that stepped up to answer the questions and help Paulo get the answers that he needed and he wanted. And now I'm pretty sure that he has these answers, and he will realign himself, right? These were just questions that he had. Maybe, you know, it is what it is, right? He asked them the way he did, but he's got his answers. He's got his answers. And everybody in the community was willing to step up and get those answers, right? Even me, willing to make this video to get that word out there, man. And other people that made videos, trying to get the answers out there. The only thing that this did was make me more confident in this project than I was before. Because where there may have potentially been a hole, it was filled. So now I am unshakable in my belief in Dogelon Mars, because even with these questions that may have been tough, there was an answer, and they were good answers, right? So what can we do? The result is that we have some questions answered, some tough questions answered, right? And now we can circulate this information. And I think that we should focus on circulating the information that we gained from this, right? I think that would be the best thing. And we remain unshakable in our investment, man. So if you ain't got no Dogelon Mars, get you some.